Got you. DSN, just go to the YouTube channel of DSN. We have the recorded sessions for the last 5 weeks now. So don't worry. And people that have been with us from the very beginning, you already know that definitely you should have written your introduction section. So drop in your name and where you're joining us from. I'm so excited to be back again with you guys. Oluwafemi Olashupo from Oshogbo. Okay, welcome. Definitely. You definitely get more insights from Dr. Sofiane as usual. He's going to give us that mind-blowing research tips today, so don't worry. I'm expecting your responses in the chat section. Kindly drop in your name and where you're joining us from. I can't see your responses. I'm expecting your response. Oh, Johannesburg, South Africa. Wow. That's nice. I don't know, is that afternoon or morning there? All right. So your favorite emojis, I can't see them. I want to see more in the chat section. Your expectations for today, have you done your assignments? How glad, how happy are you to be here? So we just have 2 more minutes before I call in Dr. Sofiane. Okay, Trust, thank you very much. All right. 2 more minutes before I call in Dr. Sofiane, and he will take us on this journey to write our powerful research paper. So just sit back and relax. Toib, thank you. Oh, I can't really see this emoji. I don't know, but don't worry. Just drop in your name and where you're joining us from. How excited you are to be back again for the final session of Research Masterclass. 1 more minute before I call in Dr. Sofiane. I can't wait for him to be on the call. Lagos, Tohi from Lagos, welcome. Thank you for joining us once again. So happy to be here. 1 minute, I think it should be less than 1 minute now before I call in Dr. Sofiane. So like I said, after the Q&A session with Dr. Sofiane, I will call in Chris Emezue, and he will take us through something very interesting. So I want you to calm down. Once we are done with the Q&A session with Dr. Sofiane, I will call him on this call. All right. So, Dr. Sofiane, the floor is yours. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Folaswa. Thank you so much for the introduction. Hello, everyone. Good evening. I hope you're all doing well. I'm really happy another time to be here. So this is the final session of the Research Masterclass. It's not going to be the final contact with me. Of course, DSN will still support you in your research. Will still meet again and again and do research together. So this is our goal. This is our idea, and this is the spirit of DSN. Thank you another time for joining this session. So give me just a minute to share my screen. Okay, so here it is. Okay, so as I said, this is the final session of the Research Masterclass sessions. This is the it's meant to be only 6 weeks, but we added 1 more week. So this is the 7th week of the Research Masterclass. So as always, our goal is to write a research paper by the end of this Research Masterclass. So this is our goal. This is what we meant to be, we meant to do in this Research Masterclass. The agenda, as I said, today we are going to see how to write the abstract and the conclusion sections. So it's always hard to start. You know that the abstract is the first section of each uh, of every research paper, but it's hard to start by writing an abstract. It's difficult to write because the abstract is, let's say, a summary of your research of the whole paper. So it's hard to start with a summary. Because of this, we start writing them at the final stage of the research paper, because we now have our methodology, we have the introduction, we have the results, we have everything. So we only need to know how to structure the abstracts and how to structure the conclusion and how to write a high quality abstracts and high quality conclusion, because the conclusion is the only part indexed in the search engine. It's the only thing available in the mirror of your research paper. So, and also it's the first thing that a reviewer of your article read. So it depends on your abstract. The reviewer decide to go ahead and read your research paper, or decline to review your research paper. So this is too important. And a lot of researchers, while reading a research paper, they only read the abstracts in the conclusion to get the whole idea about the research paper. So these parts are crucial parts in the research paper, and they are more important, and we need to be careful while writing them. Okay, so just as a reminder for the people who joined for the first time, so you still go and follow the research masterclass. We have a YouTube channel, which is DSN, Data Scientist Network. Just type it in YouTube, and you can find all the sessions, and you can follow this program, and you can contact us in order to do research with us. So this is our idea, and this is our space, as I said. So in the first week, of course, you will find and you will see that writing a research paper is about writing formally, is about writing in English in formal words, and writing a research paper which is, let's say, divided or split into 6 parts, which are the abstracts, the introduction, the related works, the methodology, the results and discussion, and of course the conclusion. So we already covered all of these parts, excluding the abstract and the conclusion, that's or which are treated today in this session. So in the second week, we choose we choose a research topic, okay, which is a study of natural language processing, etc., summarization techniques for news articles in Arabic. That was we showed a technique on in how to start from general, how to start from a big topics like speech recognition, computer vision, natural language processing, and how to get more specific, and at the end to get with a question, a research question that we need to answer while writing the research article. We've seen also the difference between a survey paper, a research paper. We said that the survey paper is a comparison of different state of the art methods, okay, and also the recent methods. And the research paper is a illustration of a methodology of a contribution of something new, and we can write a paper that is going to be considered as a research paper, okay? And also we've seen the difference between a conference paper and the journal paper, and we said that conference paper usually are short papers with 6 pages maximum, okay? And for the journal papers, they are longer, and they may include more than one contribution, okay? And we say that an article is the let's say the elementary thing in research. Okay, so it's an essential thing in research. We can do experimental protocols, we can develop, we can do anything we like, but we need to report that in a formal way in an article. Okay, so this is the idea. In the third week, we've seen just a structure in how to uh, structure the writing of our research, the program of writing. Okay, and we've seen that it's suitable to write an article using a LaTeX template because it's easy, but the different parts of the different sections of the article are going to be written in Word because it's easier because we can write drafts, we can drop drafts, and we can do whatever we want. We've seen also a technique of paraphrasing, okay, a technique that can enhance our writing style by using deepl.com website, which is a translation or it's a translator website that can translate from English to any other language. And that website provides a tool that can replace each word by a list of synonyms. Okay, you can use this list, and as I said, you can easily write a text or a paragraph or a phrase and translate it into another language and reverse the translation. And that way you can have a new phrase which does not include let's say plagiarism. Okay, because it's a crucial step while writing a research paper. Some journals and some conferences have the let's say the criteria of that you should fulfill of maximum 25% or 20% of similarity. So your paper should be 80% unique. Okay, so and they have also a lot of tools which I can say iThenticate, plagiarism checker X. So there is a lot of tools, but the most used one is the iThenticate.com, I think, website, which is a more powerful tool, which is used by Elsevier, which is used by Springer and a lot of publishers. Okay, so in the fourth week, we've seen how to write the methodology for both survey paper and the research paper. So it's too important to know how to choose the best let's say the best structure of your methodology section, which depends on a survey or a research paper. In the fifth, in the 6 weeks, we've seen how to write the results and discussion section for both research and survey paper. And last week, we've seen how to write the introduction. And we've said that the introduction is it's also considered important because more than 90% of researchers, of readers, they only read the introduction, the abstract, and the conclusion parts of your paper. So these parts are the parts more read by the research community. So you need to be careful while writing the introduction. And of course, now we'll see how to write the abstract in the conclusion. So today's agenda is how to write an abstract section and a conclusion section. Let's start by the abstract section. Okay, so the abstract section is a self-contained in short synopsis that describes a larger work. In general, the abstract section should be 150 between 150 and 200 words maximum. Okay, so the majority of publishers and journals and conferences in especially in computer science, they are requiring and requiring the people who would like to submit their paper to respect this. Otherwise, they will reject your research paper. So this is too important, and you need to learn how you can describe the whole paper in only 150 words, and more it's shorter, more it's accurate and important, and of course you are going to have more readers. Okay, so the abstract is the only part of the paper that is published online in more conference proceedings. So it's the part that, of course, plus the title and the metadata of the authors and also the keywords. The abstract is also available online because for people who want to buy an article, for example, to read, they need to have an idea about that article, and the abstract should provide the whole idea about the research paper. So the abstract constitutes a very important section of your paper, of course, so it's the more important section of your paper. When you submit your paper to a journal, potential reviewers only see the abstract when invited by an editor to review the manuscript. As I said, the reviewer decide to review or not to or not your research paper by only reading your abstract. If the reviewer finds your abstract attracting and promising, so he definitely would love to read your research paper, and he will accept reviewing the research paper, and this also will accelerate the time of to obtain the first decision, either your paper is accepted or not. Because if the editor, for example, doesn't find a reviewer, you will look and search again and again for more reviewers, and this is going to take too much time, maybe 1 year or 2 years, and 2 years in research is it's a huge gap. For example, if you read articles in 2022 and you compare them with articles in 2020, you are going to find a huge difference between the results and the, because you know research is progressing day by day, minute by minute, and we are living in high speed, let's say, life. And yes, it's difficult to have a decision of your article after 2 or maybe one year. It's too hard to have that. Yeah, so the abstract should include 1 or 2 lines briefly describing the topic, the scope, the purpose, the results, and the conclusions of your work. So you have all of this, and you need now to describe them briefly. Okay, the abstract is indexed by search engines, so make sure that it has all the right words. You need to include all the feature words, the most important words in your abstract, because you need to be ranked in Google. You need to be well known in Google. For example, I'm just taking Google as example because it's the most used search engine. So you need to have a reputation. To do that, so you need to write a high quality abstracts and also conclusions, of course, but abstract is the most important part now. Make sure it is rich with data and numbers to demonstrate the scientific rigor of your article. For example, if you have a good result, if you decrease it an error, for example, try to show that error in your abstract. Try to report the most relevant results in your abstracts. Be very clear and confident about your findings. You need to have, not, let's say, you need to have a correct phrases. You need to have accurate phrases that describe your findings. Okay, you need to summarize them into just only one phrase. Keep it punchy and straight to the point. You don't loop and go there and there to say something. Just say it directly. Okay, so the abstract section of your research paper should include the following. The first thing, you need to start with a problem statement. If you remember in the introduction, I said that you need to start with a general introduction of your let's say of your field of study, of your domain of study. You need to start from the general. For example, computer vision, you need to start like nowadays computer vision, etc. and etc. Here you need just to have this in one phrase, maximum 10 words. Okay, you need to introduce the field in 10 words. After that, you need to go straight to the problem statement. You need to highlight the problematic. Okay, for example, let's say I'll just give you an example. In a survey, for example, let's say that I would like to write a survey in 2022 in natural language processing, okay, or sentiment analysis. Okay, I will start with nowadays sentiment analysis is gaining a high importance in the field of natural language processing. Dot. While I will cite on directly the problem, um, while for example most of the surveys are for example describing the methods or something, I don't know. After that, you will try to highlight the lake, okay, and the gap in the literature. Okay, most of them don't cover, for example, this part. Okay, dot. So this is the problem statement. Now you should move to the indication of the methodology. You need to go there directly. For example, the goal of this paper is to, and describe your methodology in one sentence. Okay, after describing your methodology, you need to highlight the results, the findings. For example, experiments have shown something, or we've conducted the experiments on a data set, for example, a well-known data set, and results show, for example, results show that. And after highlighting the results, you need to have a conclusion. Dot, and you need to give a general conclusion of your paper. Okay, for example, if you start by a hypothesis in the introduction, you need to answer that hypothesis in the abstract section. So this is more important. Just keep in mind this structure. You start with the problem statement and you conclude the abstract by a general by a specific conclusion. It's the principal conclusion. Okay, now after writing the abstract, the conclusion the conclusion should be like a mirror of the abstract. For example, the abstract is showing something, is showing we started the abstracts from the general to the specific. In the conclusion, we start from the specific to the general, and we can generalize for future work and also present the future work. The abstract may be considered as, let's say, as the introduction, but in a reverse way. It's the same thing. In the introduction, we start from general to specific. In the conclusion, we start from specific to the general. Okay, so a research paper should end with a well-constructed conclusion. We need to write a high-quality conclusion, a well-constructed conclusion. The conclusion is somewhat similar to introduction. Like I said, it's similar, but in a reverse way. You restate your aims. Of course, you have to restate them, your aims and the objectives, and summarize your main findings in evidence for the reader. You have to give the reader a summary of your findings, a summary of your objectives, of your aims. Okay, you need to give them. uh, just keep in mind, he should, for a research paper, we judge the quality of the research paper based on the conclusion, the abstracts in the conclusion. For anyone should have an idea about the research paper by only reading your conclusion and, of course, your abstracts. You can usually do this in one paragraph with three main key points and one strong take-home message. I mean the objectives, the aims, the summarization of findings. You can do this in only one paragraph with key points, okay? You should not present any new arguments in your conclusion, because this part, it's meant to be in the discussion section, the results in discussion. The results in discussion, for example, if you give arguments based on the result or something like that, you should not report a new arguments in the conclusion. You should only remember or remind this argument and or summarize these arguments in the conclusions. But in general, we are not presenting any arguments in the conclusion. You can raise some open questions and set the scene for the next study. As I said, it's also recommended to present the future works, but it's going to be these are the perspectives, the future works for your future works to explore or for the others to explore. You need to do that, so you show that your research can be extensive. You can extend your research and can be explored by other research. So this is a good place to register your thoughts about possible future work. As I said, you need to just give some hints on how we can explore these results, how we can work. For example, I will give you an example. For example, if you test something in a small data set, you can say that yes, we've got good results in this small data set, but we can explore this and we can train this in a larger data set, okay, to have a general conclusion and to have more insights. Okay, you can do this, and we can more researchers can do this and compare their work to yours. Try to explain to your readers what more could be done. Okay, what do you think are the next step to take, and what other questions warrant further investigation? So try to give them just let's say a way to go with. But keep in mind, if you have another work or another contribution which is based on that research article, don't don't indicate this, because people are going to take your idea and going to develop it and publish it before you, and yes, you are going to last one article because you already give them the whole idea. But you can, for example, for the ideas that, or the ways that you don't want to explore, for example, you can, yes, you can tell people yes, you can go this way, and also you can go this way. So this is just a general idea about this. And yes, the conclusion is the last part of the essay that your reader will see. So you have to spend more time by writing both the conclusion and also the abstract. Yes, so So in general, just a structure, how to structure your conclusion. So the conclusion section of your research paper should include the following. The first one, an overall summary of your research. Okay, as I said, you start from the specific, from the results. So for example, I will start with the conclude. I will start the conclusion with this. This paper in this paper, for example, we presented a new deep learning framework for speech recognition. Dot experiments have shown that, for example, just describe the experiments. Dot and you can conclude or just give a conclusion of the experiments. Okay. Dot after that, you can go for further research, future work, and let's say perspectives. Okay. And just for example, you can say that we have not investigated this method. For example, if you have, for example, you are working, for example, with just clean data, you can say that we have not explored the noisy data, and yes, we can, for example, explore noisy data and see if the results can still persistent or not. Yes, you can do that, and you can explore more and more. So this is just a general idea. I don't want to start writing in an abstract and conclusion, because any one of you can do this. Just try to respect this structure. Okay, try to respect this structure, and you are going to write a good abstract and good conclusion. Now, before ending this presentation, and also before going to the Q&A and our special guest, um, I would like to give you some insights on how we will work on your research paper. So a lot of you, more than 20 of you, are writing a research paper. Okay, so a lot of you are having fun writing the research paper, etc. And now we need your research paper in order to review your research paper with you. Okay, so I need for anyone, for especially for the people who didn't start yet the writing the research paper. So we have this month. Okay, we have this month for the people who already wrote the research paper. Send us your research paper. Okay, and we will organize you. For example, for the people who already are working on a similar project, maybe you are going to work as a team, because working as a team is more important thing. You can have this experience with DSN, and of course you are going to be supervised by a research team. I'm going also supervising you. I'm going to review all of your research paper. But try, please send us your research paper, the whole research paper. How to do that? Don't uh, don't share the word file of the research paper, but all you need to do, this is for everyone, try to register on overleaf.com. Okay, overleaf.com. It's providing a platform of LaTeX. Okay, so I will give you a template, the template that I presented in the two, I think the first 2 weeks. Okay, I will give you a template, and I will give you my email. Okay, all you need to do is to share with me your template. Okay, share with me your template, and I'm going to modify and modify your template, of course, give you some suggestions, give you some comments on your research paper. So this is how we are going to work. We're going to provide you with a schedule on how we will work on that. Okay, we have your emails, we have your addresses. So we will work together, and we will inform you how we will work, and maybe we are going to have more meetings, and we will have maybe we will work on your subjects, your topics right now, and also we will propose some topics, some related topics to yours, and to have this experience and to have the writing skills, and for people who are interested in a PhD in the future. So this is a great opportunity for you to have a PhD, because this is the program of a PhD. This is how PhD works. So you are not going to find this let's say this structure or working environment. This is a good opportunity for you. Personally, when I was in the faculty doing PhD, so I wasted the whole year by just reading without doing anything, because it's hard to find someone who can guide you correctly, who can give you the let's say the shorter way without spending time in other stuff. Yes, you are going to have experience by, because anything you read, you are not going to waste it. But if you go straight forward, okay, in a short time, so you are going to be more efficient, you are going to have more papers, and this is the let's say the pragmatic way that we are trying to bring as a culture, because we have a potential in Africa, but we are not pragmatic. We need to be pragmatic in Africa. We need to have this spirit, to have more papers. We need to be more productive. Okay, we need to have products and products and products, and this is how we can overcome Europe. This is how we can overcome US, because Europe and US are working with the or under or upper the shoulders of the Africans. You know, in France, in UK, in Netherlands, in Spain, in US, uh, Africans are the people who are working there. So we have people. We are approximately 1 billion people in Africa, and the goal of the DSN is to have 1 million EI talent in Africa, which is something huge, and we need to do that because the future is Africa. So I think that's I'm done. Thank you so much for your attendees here, and I'm waiting for your questions, and see you next not next session of the research masterclass, but see you while doing research, while doing something too important and more important than, let's say, the research masterclass. Okay, thank you so much. And Folashwa, the floor is yours.
All right, thank you, Dr. Sofiane. And as usual, you've delivered such a splendid talk. So I'm expecting your responses, your questions in the chat section, so that Dr. Sofiane can answer them. So in case you are confused about anything he said, writing your abstract or anything, so you can tell us in the chat section. Geoffrey, can you please rephrase that question? I don't know, like in a sentence, a full sentence. Please, I want you all to start dropping your questions, or are there no questions? Are you all satisfied with what you said today? You understood everything? And for the person asking for attendance link, don't worry, I'll send you the attendance link. Just let's concentrate on this first. Any questions for Dr. Sofiane? Oh, somebody is asking which template are you sending to them to write their research paper? Probably
So
they could not get the name.
Yeah, I will send a template, a LaTeX template, okay, which has the parts, the introduction, the abstract, the introduction, the methodology sections. Okay, so all you need to do is to upload this template within your Overleaf account, and I will give you my email and share you the whole research paper with me. So this is how we are going to work this.
Okay, then someone asked if they are to send only the abstracts now or the whole research.
So instead of sending the abstract, only the abstract, so now concentrate and focus on your the whole research paper. I will send you by today, or yes, by this week, the an email that describes how we are going to work. We'll send you the instructions, okay, and all you need to do is to upload the template, to write the whole paper in that template, and to share it with me. Overleaf gives the possibility to share your research paper with others. So I will give you my email, okay? So all your research paper are going to be shown in my Overleaf account.
Okay, someone asked that for someone like him that hasn't started anything, can he start something now, and what is the time frame?
Yes, of course, you have the time. All you need to do is to follow and to start the research masterclass from the beginning, from the first week until the seventh week, okay? And try to do, you always have time, okay? But the earlier you start, the more information and the more, let's say, the more help you can get from a DSN, because we want everyone to go in the same let's say the same level. Okay, so this is the not, it's not overlay, it's Overleaf. I'm going to drop this Overleaf. We're going to send you the link to all of this. Yeah.
Okay. Someone asked about conclusion section. He said you told them that conclusion should not be more than one paragraph. That, are you talking about the overall work or just sections?
No. For the conclusion, you can have 2 or 3 paragraphs, but I'm talking about the conclusion or of of the work, not the conclusion section. Because in the conclusion section, you can have 2 parts. The first part is the overall of your research. Okay, so this overall of your research is going to be in only 1 paragraph. Okay, and the second part, which is the future work, it's not a general, it's not let's say a general rule, but it's better to have this in 1 paragraph. The other part of your conclusion is the future work, okay, and the further studies. So this is how you can structure your conclusion: 2 big paragraphs, okay. So it's going to be, for example, in the length of 2 abstracts. For example, if you have an abstract of 150 words, okay, the conclusion should be 300 words.
All right. So, someone asked that, are they writing another research paper aside the summary of journals they submitted as assignments?
Yes, of course, you can submit it as an assignment, no problem.
So for the person asking for slides, on our YouTube channel, we already have the recorded sessions of our previous sessions of this research masterclass. So you can just go to our YouTube channel and you can check through the previous recorded sessions.
And also,
So
no
if you
problem,
have,
for the slides, we can share the slides. We can share the slides with the email. I will put them together and share them with you.
all right, thank you for that, Dr. Sofiane. So do you have any questions? Abraham, you are raising your hands. Do you have any question? You can just type it in the chat section. All right, I don't think there's any question. So, okay, Abraham is about to talk. Probably we should just give him a minute for him to talk. Then I can call in the our guest speaker.
Okay.
Abraham, I'm waiting for your question. Okay, so Abraham said he has a data set with 300 rows. Is it good enough to make a model and write a paper about it?
So 300 rows. So it depends. For example, if you are using deep learning, so deep learning, as you know, you need too much more data. Okay, so 300 rows, you will end up with an overfitting problem, because deep learning is capable of learning this but with a 100% accuracy. So, and if you feed something new or test something new, your model is going to tell you that or give you the wrong label. So 300 data is not good for example, for a deep learning model. But if you are using older models of machine learning, yes, 300 rows is good. If you, for example, for and also it depends on your purpose. For example, if you want to do just visualization, yes, maybe it's going to be good, but it depends.
Someone asked that is there a problem computer vision can solve in physics?
um, I don't have an idea right now, but yes, you can find computer vision with physics. Just try type, go for example in Science Direct or Google Scholar, type computer vision physics, and you can find a lot of papers there. Yeah.
All right, so thank you, Dr. Sofiane, for answering those questions. We have come to the end of the Q&A. So I'll call in Chris Emezue. He's a developer advocate at Hugging Face, and he will walk us through tutorials on Hugging Face. So I want you to welcome Chris as he takes us on another tutorial. I hope you enjoy it and you learn from what he wants to talk to us about. He's a machine learning intern also. So Chris Emezue, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Can you allow me to share my screen? Um, so I understand I have 30 minutes, so I will try not to go above the time. I still cannot share my screen. It says host disabled.
Okay, let's check it. Just give us 2 minutes.
Thank you.
So probably you can be introducing yourself to find something to do about it.
Oh, sure. Hello, everyone. Good morning from Montreal. It's morning here. Good afternoon. I guess it's afternoon in the Europe African region, and good evening from those calling from another region. My name is Chris. I'm doing machine learning research. So I am a developer advocate at Hugging Face. Some of you might know me from MasterClass, where I do work on Africa NLP, or Sisonke, where we're working on medical health research related to the healthcare in in the space of Africa. I'm also a visiting student researcher at Mila. So yeah, and I'm also the co-founder of Landfricker, an initiative to catalog and link African language resources. And now I can share my screen. Great, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Okay, I'm very happy to be talking to you all today at the DSN. I've been following the work of DSN for quite some time. You all are doing amazing work, and it's a very good way to get into the field of data science and machine learning. And yes, it's very important to do some research out there. I like what Dr. Sofiane was talking about, pragmatic research, because it's, okay, someone is not muted. Thank you. I like what Dr. Sofiane was talking about pragmatic research because that's actually very important. So like he said, you have a lot of output, research output coming from outside Africa. So from Netherlands, Europe, Canada, US, and in many of these research, there are Africans involved in that. But why can't many of these output actually come from Africans in Africa? And I think that's one of the most important focus of this whole masterclass. And that's why Dr. Sofiane's talks from the beginning of how to write a paper, it's very, very important. Everything he's saying is so important. Like even this final one about abstracts and conclusions, like it's on point. This is how reviewers review papers. I know that from experience. So experience writing papers and experience reviewing papers. So let me go into the talk for today. Just switched my mouse. Okay, today, what I'm going to take you through is something connected to pragmatic research. So it's about, actually being able to do research and getting something out there. So the outline of this, I'll try to make it as brief as possible. And you can always reach out to me if you have more questions or if you want to take any of these things further or if you want to learn more about them. So this is a very, very, fast talk. Okay, yeah, this is me. I think I've talked about myself, so there's no need for this. Today I'll be taking you through two things. One is a tour of the Hugging Face Hub, and two is a thing called demos. So let's start with this. What do you think about this statement? A large part and sometimes tedious part of doing machine learning research involves running experiments, training and evaluating your models, doing some analysis. What do you think? Can you do some reactions like or chat? Can I access the chat? Yeah, so it's like yes, no, just want to hear what you think generally. Do you agree with this statement in general? Okay, we will say this is very true. We were saying yes. Okay. Okay, I think, okay, some people say no, that's good. I like to see something different. Okay, okay. I think we have a number of yeses. The next question I want to ask is, for the research you're planning to do, someone asked about computer vision in physics. For the research you're planning to do, what kind of machine learning modeling are you trying to do? So are you trying to do some kind of computer vision thing, like someone asked about physics and computer vision? Are you trying to do something in machine translation, language modeling, reinforcement learning, regression analysis? So probably no training model, just doing some analysis or something else. Can I see some chats? Like what are you planning to do? If it's okay, if it's not okay, predictions. Any other? I think computer vision, for the lady that asked about physics. Okay, computer vision. Okay, some ethics in AI. Okay, multimodal learning. That's good. Okay, but ethics in AI, okay, or if it's a theoretical part, so you just theoretically analyzing the models. If it's the practical part, you want to do some kind of interpretability studies on the models, right? So you still have to like do something with these models, right? So these models could be NLP models, language models, maybe you're trying to do some fact checking or some stuff. Okay, great. I see a lot of answers. So what I'm just trying to ascertain with these two statements is that when you say machine learning, there's a tendency to just to think of machine learning is regression analysis, or there's a tendency to have just one idea of machine learning. And what I'm trying to show here is that you can have the theoretical part of machine learning where you are actually doing the mathematics or statistics or like going into the models. And you also have the practical part where you have to analyze some models. So you have to run some code. So run some experiments. It doesn't matter whether it's a machine learning experiment or it's not machine, but you have to run some experiments. And you can't have a full research paper without having some experimental backend. So if you're doing ethics in AI, you need to have some, results, right? So we tested these models and we saw that this one is good. This one has some this, right? If you're doing NLP genetics, for example, with drug discovery, you need to do some results with the drug, the genes, or some form of research. So experiments are a vital part of machine learning. And in my experience, we spend so much time trying to get the experiments running. Like sometimes we don't even know. I remember when I first started, I did not even know where to start from. Like I want to do something on machine translation for English to Igbo. Where do I start from? I was completely lost. And so the aim of this, my talk, is to kind of guide you on what to do when you need to run experiments. Okay, let's take a concrete example. So let's say you want to build a news summarizer for your research. So news summarization is just the act of taking a document your model being able to take a document and summarize the whole story. So this could be like a news article and give you a summary. This is an example. For you to build this news summarizer, you need to collect data. You need to find and collect this data. You need to clean them. You need to do some other pre or post processing with this data set. Then you need to find and pick a model. Then you need to train the model or evaluate the model. And or depends on what you're doing, right? So if you can train and evaluate, or maybe you're just trying to do some analysis of the model, a pre-trained model, so you're just evaluating. But all these things can take a lot of time, right? So the first problem is, where do you find these data sets from? And let's say you already have the data set, like Abraham was talking about having 300, and then you want to train the model. So where do you find these models from? When you find them, what's the code? How do you connect these things together? So these are real concrete problems you face when you start doing machine learning research in like running the experiment. Now, is there a way to make this easier, where you don't have to reinvent the wheel, a way that's open source, something you can easily install, download? And the answer is yes. So this introduces the Hugging Face AI community open source, and it helps solve many of these problems in machine learning. So different sections from NLP all the way to reinforcement learning. And let me show you kind of how it helps to solve. So this is what we call the Hugging Face Hub. It's a family of open source tools. So you have models, you have data sets, you have spaces. It's a family of many tools with a huge backing of engineers and people writing software to make it easy for us to use these tools and work with them. So let's take the first one, the Models Hub. So the Models Hub is a place where you can find models that you're looking for. So it's a catalog of models. It's a catalog of community models. So um, it's not so community in the sense that you can upload your models there. So the whole machine learning research community is contributing to this hub. So you see models from different places, from Google, from OpenAI, from different. So anybody, including you and I, can contribute and to this hub. The advantage is that it allows you to easily find models, to find them and use them. So let me show you. So these are just some statistics. So like over 30,000 models, public models, over 20 tasks. So the tasks are the, let me do some. By the way, feel free to interrupt me if you have questions that you want me to answer. So you can easily sort them by tasks. You can sort them by libraries. You can sort them by data sets. You have a host of contributions. So you have Helsinki, you have so many. I don't think this need to list them. And these are some stats. But let me show you why personally I like using Hugging Face for my experiments and why I have been using it. So let's come back to the problem of news summarization. So you want to build a news summarizing model, or you want to evaluate it or something. So you can, to find the model to use, you can easily come to the Models Hub. And in this place, you can search by putting in summarizer. And when you type summarizer, you see the research results here. they show. So you see, you have like 264 community summarization models. So you don't have to start writing a summarization model from scratch. Finding the model, getting the encoder part, decoder part, and all that stuff. You already have 200 plus models already supplied to you by the general community. So it's diverse. So you could have from Pegasus summarizer, you have BERT type summarizers, you have MBERT summarizers, you have, so you choose the one you want. So for example, I choose this one, and then I open it, by choosing it, it opens, and you have, a clean detail of the model. So the name of the model, the details of the model, how it was trained, the person or the people that uploaded the model. Sometimes you also have metrics. When you go to files and versions, you can even actually see the model weights and different files. But the part I like the best is this part. So you can click on this use in transformers, and it shows you or gives you the code that you can use for this model. And in one line of code, or you can, one line actually, but you can put them in 3 lines. But in very short lines of code, you already have the code to load your model on Python. So I just copy these lines of code, or I click copy here, I paste on Colab, I run, and that's it. So voila, I have my model for summarization. So this is very useful. I've used it many times when, for example, I want to build a multilingual machine translation model, and you don't really have so much time because you need to be pragmatic, which means you cannot spend so much time just brainstorming or thinking. You need to actually do some experiments, get some results. And I use this a lot because it's super easy. I don't have to reinvent the wheel. I don't have to spend so much time trying to put all these model classes together. So that's it about the Models Hub. Furthermore, you can also incorporate any libraries you want to use. So there is support for incorporating Keras. So basically, it's this push to hub Keras where you can push your Keras model to the Hugging Face model. So you can contribute a Keras model, and you can also load the Keras model. I think it also works with scikit-learn. So there is integrations for many libraries or packages that you are used to. So that's it about the model hub. The next thing I want to talk about is the dataset hub, because let's say you have picked a model to use, so whether it's a pre-trained model, you've picked it to use, you need the data set. So sometimes you might already have the data set you want to use. Sometimes you don't have and you're looking for data sets. So there are different ways you can look for data sets. You can go on Google search and type for the type of data set you want and hope that Google gives you the relatable results, which doesn't always happen all the time. You can also go on Landfreaker and filter by the languages and type of data set you want. You can also go to Hugging Face here and go to the datasets hub of Hugging Face. So the datasets hub, again, is a catalog of data sets from the community. So we have, I think it's more than 3,000 now, but you have a lot of data sets from a lot of tasks. So it spans from machine learning, machine translation, language modeling, sentiment classification, computer vision, reinforcement learning. Like it has way lots of tasks that you can choose from. Also languages and different parameters to filter by. And then you can find data sets here. So if I'm looking for a new summarization data set, I just have to click on this summarization. I need to filter and give me the data sets that have to do with summarization. And then I click on one of them, and then I can easily use it. Let me show you how you can easily use it. So this is just some statistics. So it is the largest hub of ready-to-use data sets when it comes to machine learning, like as a whole. There are over 3,000 data sets available, and 450 plus languages and dialects are supported. And again, with this simple lines of code, you can load the data set. So this is very important for me personally as a machine learning researcher, because a lot of times I have to download the data set to my PC from somewhere if it's there already, then upload it to Google Drive, especially if I want to use Google Colab, right? Because if you upload to Colab directly after when the session times out, you've lost everything. So the safest way is to have it on your Google Drive, hoping that you have enough space there, because if you don't have enough space there, then you're in trouble. So you upload it there and then you work from there. But you have to still load it on Colab and write long codes to process it and get it into Python. So it's very tasking. But with this simple short line of code, like you have your data set on the hub here, and it's also easy to put your data set on the hub. So that's another thing. So when you have it on the hub, you just use this line of data set is equals to load data set and then put your username slash, I think, ID of your data set. And that's it. This variable called data set now becomes your data set. You don't have to worry about Google Drive or anything like that. And also it's interesting, but on the hub, you can upload very large data sets, right? So if you have limited Google Drive storage, you don't have to you don't have to spend money there. You could just upload it to the hub and use it. Another advantage is that you can use it and other people can use it. So that's why it's called open source, and that's why it's called community, because you are adding to the pool of community machine learning, which is actually the best form of machine learning right now, the things that are open source and community driven. Okay, so that's it for the models and the data sets. I don't know if there are any questions. Okay, I don't see any questions now. Okay, I guess questions might be at the end of the talk. So let's go to part 2. So part 2 is about you have finished building your model, so training your model. And for me, for example, part 2 usually comes in, so you have finished doing your experiments, whatever your experiments involve. Maybe you've written the paper too, you've submitted the paper. And now you want to communicate with the world what you've done. Because in my experience, a huge part of people knowing about you or what you've done is being able to communicate it to the community. So take any institution you want to take. So take Google, take OpenAI, take anyone. You see that they have a very good system of they do research. Maybe they train one huge model, they submit to a conference, and then they share it with the world, either through a blog post or through something, and then people can actually get to use that. So it's very important to think now of how to share your machine learning model with the world. A mistake that many people make is that you suffer a lot and you build one, or you create or you implement one model that can do something, like maybe a computer vision for some physics stuff. You write your paper gets accepted, and that's it. It ends there. Your model is buried somewhere in your hard disk drive, just lying down there, or in a Google Drive. That's not good. You need to be able to share this model with people. So let the community know. That's how you get yourself out there. That's how you kind of make your stamp as a researcher in machine learning. And I have come to see that a demo for your machine learning model is a very, very important part of that. So a demo is just a way of, letting people use what you've done. Okay, why? So in this talk, I will explain why machine learning demos are important, how to build a demo, and getting our hands dirty with Gradio and Hugging Face spaces. So why is it important to build a demo? Let me show you a typical example of what happens. By the way, this is what I've done. Okay, so you've suffered, you've trained this model, you spent days, training this model on Colab like this, using like 5-10 Gmails or something. I don't know if you guys have done that, but you've done your experiments for something and you've written your paper, then you submit it, and then you're now trying to show your model out there. And then you start thinking, okay, you want to use a web app. But then you realize, wait, the web app, oh my God, there's so many of them. There's Flask, there's Docker, there's JavaScript, CSS, and the new ones keep coming out. It's WordPress, it's this. If you want to use WordPress, okay, how do you connect the API? A simple trick. This is one thing many people in hackathons face. So I've attended a lot of hackathons. A number of them I've won. And many of the hackathons, you need to show a viable product, right? So people come up with these awesome ideas. Oh, we can take this model and then build this and build this and then build this one beautiful giant of a model. That's their idea. And at the end of the hackathon, because you have just one day to show something. Okay, where is the model? Can we see something? They have nothing. They say, oh, we had to use WordPress, and then we had to connect the API, and then we had some issues. So it's very, very tasky. So I kid you not, this is a very personal experience for me. And so you go through all these things you need to do, and then you give up. You're like, okay, I'm done. I just leave it on my hard disk, or I'll just put it on Google Drive. If anybody wants it, they come to me and they ask for it. So this is what happens when you're trying to demo your machine learning model. But the good news is there is a solution, or there are solutions coming up. Yeah, this is just showing the meme that I showed. This is just showing the thing. So you have to train your model, then you have to containerize and deploy. You have all these things from Docker, Flask to MySQL for the samples. Then you have HTML, CSS, and JavaScript to worry about. If you are a super programmer that has skills and all these things, that's good for you. But what happens is that many people don't have skills in all these languages, and you're not supposed to, because I mean, you didn't come to this world to, like, suffer and learn all these things which you may not use. And just because you want to demo a simple machine learning model does not mean that you have to start learning all these languages. But now with things like Gradio, it's super easy to build your model, train your model, and show your model to the world using just one language, Python, right? Because we use Python mostly to build the model, right? So the lines of code for training the models, collab, everything is Python, right? So you train your model in Python, but now you don't have to start learning Flask or JavaScript or HTML or Docker. You can still use Python and show your model to the world. And this is possible through what we call Gradio. And this Gradio leads me to a thing called Spaces, which is a place for you to demo your machine learning model. So why demos? Demos are important because it's very easy to present to a wide audience. For example, this is an example of someone built a computer vision model, and you don't have to start writing in words. Oh, I built a model. It takes as input and gives you as output, blah, blah, blah. You just have a demo and people can test it with their own images. So it's very easy for you to present to technical, non-technical, different, diverse set of audience. It also increases reproducibility because people can test it and give you feedback. So these are why demos are important. So this is another example with the summarizer. So you can put in a link and it gives you, so these are, by the way, these are demos that people built. So again, it's a community effort. So people built these demos. So it's not me, and I will show you where these demos are coming from. This is another demo with voice and voice authentication. So the fact is there are so many demos out there. Here's a simple, supposed to show an idea of how the Gradio makes demo very easy, because before you would have to run CMD for your Python, then have a notebook somewhere and all these things. But it's very easy to, in a few lines of code, you have import Gradio, app Gradio.interface, put the input, output, this is the function, app.launch, and that's it, just in Python. And that's what gives you all these things. So you can run this, you can put this into a file and you can run it on CMD. You can put this in a notebook and you can run it in your notebook. You can put this in a collab and run it, and anyone with the link can access your demo. And then now comes Hugging Face Spaces. So the Spaces is a place where the community can build demos and put them out there to kind of show the world. So that's where I got the demos I showed you here. These are demos created by people and put on the community. So what you now see is we have thousands of models with demos. So it's super fun for you to, it's super fun and exciting for you to try these models with actual data, like for example, you have um, you have this one here, which was created by some researchers at Masakane and Koki AI. And it's a TTS model, so text to speech. So you choose the language, and it has many African languages too. You put the text and you click generate. The button is down there. You click generate and the model will generate and you can listen to the audio. Or this one down here is a multilingual machine translation, where you can choose, it has 6 African languages there. So you can choose the source and the target language, and you can put an input sentence, like maybe if I'm doing Igbo to Kinyarwanda, I can say like Kedu or something, or English to Hausa, or Swahili to another language. And you press the input, you write the input, and then you press the button. Where's the button? Yeah, you press the submit button, and then the model translates it and gives you the output. So what I love about the spaces is that it's a very visual way for all audience and all people to interact with your model. So let's say you build something for physics with a computer vision model. You can create a space out of it and say, where the input is probably some picture of something, and then your model will take the picture and predict something. And when you build this space, you can now take the link to the space and advertise on Twitter or anywhere, or even put in your paper. And it's wonderful, especially for Twitter, because Twitter is a very good place to advertise academic research, or LinkedIn. It's wonderful because people can actually go to the link and actually interact with your model. So people don't go to your link and start going to a Google Drive pre-trained weights or something. They actually see your model. So that's an amazing component of building machine learning demos. And the last one is just an example with, I think it's an anime GAN. So I'm sure many of you must have heard about the DAL-E and the waves computer vision is making, giving very realistic images and stuff. So one very fun thing to do and also get some attention in what you're doing in computer vision is to build a demo on the space. And when you build a demo for whatever you're doing, you can advertise this demo. You have a link that takes you to the space. Okay. So in summary, I've talked about the models hub, the datasets hub, and the spaces. In my experience, these are 3 very important things to have in mind when you're doing your research, especially if your research involves running experiments, which I believe most machine learning research involves. So if you're running a form of experiment, whether it's an analysis experiment or you're actually training a model, it's important to know that you have things like the models hub and the datasets hub to help you with finding a model or getting the code to actually run the model. So you don't have to reinvent the wheel. You don't have to start doing things from scratch. You don't have to spend so much time on the experiments, and you can have more time for writing your papers. And with that, thank you very much. And I can take the questions now.
Thank you very much, Chris. So there are some questions here for you. Okay, so someone asked that by copying and using the models from the community, won't it be flagged for plagiarism?
Copying, what do you mean copying and using? So are you copying and using them as your own model? Is that what you mean by copying and using?
Probably reusing the models, because you showed it on the screen that you can make use of a model there to train.
Yeah. Oh, reusing the model is not plagiarism. It's not. Plagiarism is when you reuse the model and you claim that it's your model. That is plagiarism. But using something else of someone is not plagiarism. And so in the same way, using a model that someone, I mean, that's what we do, right? So let's say you want to do anything you want to do in machine learning, you're always advised to start with a pre-trained model, right? Because pre-trained models, they generalize better. So a pre-trained model is a model that someone else or some people already trained. So you are using their model, but it's not plagiarism. As long as you cite the people or the person properly. So you say, we use the model of this person, and here is a link to the model we used. And then we did this with the model. That's okay.
All right, thank you. Then another question here is what is the maximum gigabytes of data sets that someone can upload?
Yeah, that's a good question. So I guess you mean upload to the datasets hub. Um,
Yes.
so I don't know off the top of my head, but one thing I know is that it's way, way big. So for example, if you have a 1 or 2 or 3 gigabyte Google Drive storage, you can do more with the datasets, hub than with the Google Drive if that's what you have. So it's very big, but I don't have the number off the top of my head.
So can someone with a laptop of 4 gig RAM run some stores on the hub and it won't hang the system?
When you say run stuff on the hub, you have to be specific. So I did not say that the hub is a place to run things. I guess maybe you mean Collab, because I gave examples with Collab. So Collab is a place where you have, GPUs that you can. It's like a Jupyter notebook, but it's by Google, so they have GPUs there. So yes, you can take the code. You remember the transformers code? Maybe should I share my screen again while talking, just so it's making more sense. So I'm talking of, oh boy, where have I gone to? Okay, if you can see my slides, so I'm talking of this code here, this one. So you can take this is the code so this is the model I'm interested in, this model, and I go to this using transformers, I click here. It gives me a line of code. So I take this code and I paste on Colab. Now, Colab is the place that has GPUs. And when I run it on Colab, yes, I can do that on my 4 gig RAM laptop and nothing will happen to my laptop because you're doing it on Colab. It's not on your laptop.
All right, thank you for that clarification. And I don't think there are any more questions in. Okay, someone asked if he can have a mentorship session with you and how we can get in touch with you.
Yes, feel free to reach out to me for anything you want. I can drop my email. I think that's the best way to reach out to me.
Okay, so we're expecting you to drop your email in the chat section. So can you fine tune a model with your own data sets?
Yes, you can. Yes, you can. And I think that's a very good approach to follow. So nowadays, you don't want to start training a whole model from scratch. You just want to take a pre-trained model and fine tune on your data set. That always gives better results.
All right, thank you very much. I don't think that we have any more questions in the chat section. So this session is wonderful. Like we really learned a lot. Thank you for having us. Yeah.
Thank you so much, CSN. And I've dropped my email, so feel free to reach out to me for any questions or anything you have.
All right. So the attendance link has been sent. I don't know, should I send it again for you all to fill in your attendance for today? So if you have any more questions for him, he has already dropped his email in the chat section, so you can just message him with any question or questions that you have. So thank you very much for staying true to the end, and we'll be continuing our discussion with Dr. Sofiane for your research article. So thank you very much, everyone. Have a nice